Terry Hutchinson, if I was going to describe the last couple of days of sailing, watching the Americans, efficiency would be the word I would use. You look like you've got the most out of both days that we've had so far.
Yeah. First day we went out in that really tough offshore breeze, and we did a little bit of damage to boat one's rig, which was why we didn't get to two boat yesterday. So that was a bit disappointing, but yesterday they made the most of it, and today again I think we made the most of it. Got out there and met the breeze and did what we needed to do, and cycling through the sail stuff, the flight control stuff, all the things that go into racing the boats well. But
you mentioned flight control. Then are the guys sailing the boat manually? They're not using the autopilot at this point.
We're doing a combination of everything. So it's a gradual progression, and we know where we have to go, so might as well just start doing it.
When we've been watching over the last couple of weeks, it's been very hard to detect any real difference between the performance of the two boats.
Yeah.
Very evenly matched. Today we saw something we thought was quite significant. The boat to leeward managing to claw its way up very close to the boat to windward, going upwind.
It's more on. Yeah, it's a great observation, because I think it's actually more on port tack as you're coming into the beach. There's a little bit of a leeward boat effect with the wind. And if you go to the wayback machine, we saw a very similar characteristic in Valencia. And you see a very characteristic, racing the 52s here. That leeward right side is reasonably strong, and there's a crossover when you get far enough offshore that you don't get an acceleration down the beach, but it's very subtle. But in these boats, when you're going the speeds that they're going, it happens reasonably quickly.
What are the parameters that the guys are playing with on the boats? What are you changing other than just the sail trim? I guess cant angle, that sort of thing?
Yeah. Again, it's another good question, because there's so many variables, and we're trying really hard to probably keep as much of the stuff locked in, and each adjustment is a quantifiable one, be it a cant angle or a sheet tension or a ride height, or one known. So every single time that we make an adjustment, you can quantify it in the performance of the boat. But Mother Nature's Mother Nature, and the thing that's awesome about these boats is you sail in a half a knot more wind speed, and it's exponentially that much better. It's not just a half a knot of boat speed. The boats accelerate, they go faster, and so it's fun to see, and it's fun to watch. It's impressive when you contemplate where we've come from with two boat testing and the wayback machine and the version 5 boats, and where you end up. I think our last week we did over 250 miles in 3 days, in only like 3.5 hours of sailing a day. So it's not like you're doing a lot of hours, but you're covering a lot of miles. So yeah, it's good.
Ocean race champion back in 2015, heading into your third America's Cup. Luke, today another two-boat racing day with the two boats mostly in one design configuration. How did it go?
Yeah, it was a really good day out there for us, like 8 to 12, 13 knots sort of thing. Bit of a mixture of sort of a few warm-up laps, some straight lining, and then into some pretty combative races.
At the beginning of the day, speed testing for 1 hour with the two boats completely in one design configuration. What are you looking for in those speed tests?
Well, the AC40, they're really quite finicky boats, and when we get going in straight lining, it's really close, and whoever's really dialed into different trims and different setups will normally come out in front. But yeah, it's a game of centimetres, I suppose, in those lineups, and just practicing out here in the conditions in Barcelona.
Are you trying different angles, different sail trimming positions, or different things?
Yeah, for sure. Always trying different combinations with the cant, with the pitch angle of the boat, sail trims. It's just a never-ending cycle.
Then the second part of the day, lots of races and pre-starts. How did you feel on board boat A today?
On board boat A today, we had some ups and downs, as usual. Bit of a roller coaster. Fell off the foil on the odd occasion before the start, which doesn't normally help. But yeah, very close. Boats are getting closer. Manoeuvres are getting pretty tight.
Today you were on the port side of boat A, trimming for Ben Cornish. Which are the differences you find when you are trimming on the other boat to her with Ben and Giants?
All of the four helms that we're rotating through have different strengths and attributes, I suppose. And Cornish is very calm, pretty calculated, and he's a bit of a cruiser. He's very enjoyable to sail with. And yeah, he's very receptive to feedback, and he's really good to work with.
We're here with Matthew Layden, hydraulics tech at Alinghi Rebel Racing. 3.5 hours on the water, some long straight lines of sail testing, some pre-starts and a couple of races. Usually it's you we see jumping on board to fix the issues. Was it a day of smooth sailing today?
Yeah, I think it was quite a successful day. There was a bit of a building breeze to start with, and then it died off towards the end. I mean, for us in the systems, it's always good when we're not diving down below and finding a problem with the yacht. So today it was quite successful for us in that regard, and I think overall it was quite a productive day of testing.
What are the usual issues you're sort of dealing with on these AC40s?
There's a lot of kind of electronics problems because the electronics don't really mix so well with the water. But for me, it's often when the oil starts coming out of the boat down on the inside. It can often be a valve is, not working, or a hose has come loose, or generally it's not a big issue, but can just take some time to fix out on the water.
And yesterday and today we saw you topping up the accumulators with nitrogen. Can you explain why nitrogen is used on these systems?
So the nitrogen is a dry gas, and it's just used as, I guess, the back pressure or the spring for the cylinders and the accumulators on the boat. And just the last 2 days I've just been topping up the gas for the jib and main cylinders, not actually the accumulators.
And so you also carry the nitrogen tank on the Chase Targa. How often do you use it to top up while you're on the water?
So far never, but it's more of a precaution in case I lose some out of a cylinder at some point during the day or have to change something, but generally never.
And are the systems below deck on either of these AC40s any different to the original One Design systems?
No, they're all kind of stock. I mean, what you can see above deck might be a little different, but below deck they're still the same as how they were given to us.
We see testing every morning. Today we saw the master link to the Traveller. How often are updates on the logic being sent to you?
It's once every few months. They're pretty infrequent, but they're very small changes generally, like bug fixes for something. They're not massive updates to how the boat operates.
So you're not getting anything sent through from the design and engineering team from Alinghi Red Bull Racing back in Barcelona?
No, well, these boats were kind of stuck to the One Design software that Team New Zealand gives us, and that's all we update the boats to.
And after all this work on the hydraulics, what's the maintenance schedule like?
Day to day, it's kind of just changing the oil in the boats, because we need to keep the oil very clean so that the valves don't have any issues or cause any problems throughout the system. And then it's kind of just staying on top of the cylinders, rebuilding them at frequent intervals, trying to stay ahead of any failures, because that's the aim of the game. You're not trying to let them fail out in the water, you want to fix them beforehand.